Welcome everyone to the channel today. We talk about frugal living on this channel, and today we're going to talk about making your food stretch. I see so many videos about people struggling nowadays with food costs. So making your food stretch is so important, and today we're going to talk about some of those shortcuts you can take that will make your food last longer so you don't have to grocery shop. Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. I live in Kansas on a farm and I have a donkey. This is Brownie. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. So many of you know I am currently house sitting in North Carolina. I'm staying with my 17-year-old grandson while my son and daughter-in-law travel abroad and the cat. So while I am here, I am cooking the meals for him. He knows how to cook on his own, but I like to spoil him just a little bit. My son said, "Don't worry, everything will be stocked up. You won't have to worry about anything." Now, my husband and I also have a back stock, and when I got down here, I saw how much food my son had, and it just added to the knowledge that I already have that I am stocking way too much food at home. I've been working on trying to dwindle it down over the last couple of years, but I've got a long ways to go. When you go from having a full house of 8 people down to an empty nest of 2 people, it's hard to change some of those shopping habits. And I was one of those where I just didn't realize that I was really stocking too much for 2 people and how little we really would go through if I just sat down and looked at what we already had. So that's some of the things I've been doing these last couple of years, is trying to use up what I have and not continue to buy excess. So when I got down here and I saw my son's pantry, I saw his deep freeze, I saw his refrigerator with the freezer in the bottom, and he has a family. Now, right now, there's just my grandson and I here, but he's 17. So he does a lot of eating. He gets hungry and he can eat a lot. We all know how teenage boys can be when they're hungry. So I started trying to figure out, what can I use here to make some meals, because I don't want my son to come home to an empty pantry or an empty freezer. I want to make my food stretch here just like I would if I'm at home, even though I didn't buy this food. And so we started out with making a pork roast, and that's one of the ones that I showed you in one of my prior videos. Now, it wasn't a huge pork roast, but we had pork roast with mashed potatoes and a salad, one meal, pork roast with mashed potatoes and canned corn, another meal, and then we chopped it up and we used fajita size tortillas and had maybe 4 or 5 more meals of pork roast tacos. Now, this is a way to stretch your food. Pork roast can be as low as $1.99 a pound. And if you can catch your chicken on sale or anything like that, you can do the same thing with other meats and make your food stretch. So that covered us for several days of food right here in the house. Today, I have 2 chicken breasts in the oven. I'm going to do the same thing. My grandson loves anything in a tortilla, so I'm going to chop that up and shred that chicken, and we're going to have chicken tacos over the next few days, and that should carry us through until my son gets home. So having leftovers can be a really good thing. It not only saves you time and effort, but you can reconstruct those leftovers into other meals. Even if you have leftover hamburger, you can throw it into spaghetti, you can throw it into sloppy joes, you can throw it into a casserole. A lot of those things, even if they have a little bit of flavoring already in them, you won't notice if you throw them into what you're making and go ahead and add the flavoring you would normally add. Now, there is an Aldi here that I went to for the first time the other day because he didn't have any soft taco shells. And I looked at how much the fajita tortillas were, compared to the soft taco shells. Now there were 12 soft taco shells and they cost a little bit more than this. Like I want to say like $1.69 maybe. These were $1.49 for 20. Now we have in the refrigerator onion, we have peppers, we have lettuce. So I just sauteed up the onions and the peppers to make it like a fajita with the pork. And then he chose to add lettuce as well and make like a taco fajita type thing. And I just took the meat and rolled it in there and just ate it without any toppings. I'm trying to lose weight. I've actually lost like another 3 pounds since I've been here over the last couple of weeks. So I'm excited about that. But they also had their bread there. Now in Kansas, this loaf of bread at Aldi's is like $1.49. Here it was only 99 cents. And I have eaten a couple of slices from their pantry since I've been here. It's super soft, super moist. It's very good bread. So it's not like the bread that you sometimes will buy on sale or buy at some of those other chain stores and it's the cheaper kind and then you get it home and it's kind of dry. This is very good bread for coming from Aldi for 99 cents. There's lunch meat in there. We haven't even touched the lunch meat. I did get a large frozen pizza one day that was a rising crust for only $3.99 on sale, which is a really good deal. So we splurged and had a pizza and we had that for one of our meals. But normally those pizzas run, oh my gosh, $8 or $9 anymore for a frozen pizza. So we did a few things like that. I did deviate just a tiny bit, like for the frozen pizza, but everything else we ate from right here in the house. So potatoes, even though potatoes have gone up, they're a great way to stretch your meal. They're a great way to make that dinner last. I made one small pot of potatoes that lasted us 3 meals. So as you're planning your foods, think about not only what you're making today, but how you can use what you're making today tomorrow. Now, with me having a 17-year-old boy here, he's like, Nana, I do not get tired of food. I don't get tired if it's the same kind of food every day. I like food. But my husband is the same way. He doesn't get tired of leftovers. But if you have a family that gets tired of leftovers, then that's some of the tricks you can do. Take those leftovers, flip them into something different the next day, and they won't even know that they were leftovers. I did this all the time when my kids were growing up. My son would come home and say, What are we having for supper? And I'd say, We're having a concoction. And he said, We had that last night. And I would tell him, We're having a different concoction than we had last night. And all that meant is I was taking some stuff out of the fridge that I had and I was making it into something else tonight. Since my grandson is a big eater and I saw there was only 12 soft tacos in that package, that's why I opted for the smaller fajita ones. Yes, they are smaller, but they also hold less filling. So you can eat more of those and have less filling than eat the bigger ones and just pile it really high. So that's one of the small tricks you can use to fill up your family is to go to the smaller size of tortilla. If you get those really giant large ones, sometimes there's only like 6 or 8 to a package and they can really pack those fillings in. And those fillings are what the expensive part of the meal is. Now, I've never been to Costco. My son is a Costco shopper. He says he can buy 3 of those giant pork roasts in a package and then cut them all in half to make 6 normal sized ones. So he has a lot of pork roast in his freezer. He also has a lot of other big packages of like chicken breasts and things like that from Costco. I've never priced anything there. I don't know what the prices are. But I can tell you when he gets home, he's probably going to look around here and say, Did you guys even eat anything? Because we stretched our meals with little shortcuts like that so that we did not eat him out of house and home. We still had delicious meals, and we left him with food to come back from vacation with to start his week. I have seen so many TikTok videos lately comparing like how broke someone is to someone else, saying, look what's in my refrigerator, I hardly have any food. Look what's in my pantry, I hardly have any food. And also another lady was on there crying because she only had $200 to $300 to last her the next week. And the lady that hardly had anything in her pantry pointed out, I could make toast, I could make this, I could make this, I could make this. And she started naming off all the things she could make. While the lady who was crying thought she didn't have enough money of $200 or $300 to get herself through food and groceries and bills. So it's all in our perspective, and it's all in our vision, our imagination. There's been times I hardly had anything in my cabinets. There has been times when my two youngest were little, I was down to toast and butter. Yes. So it's all in your perspective. We need to be thankful for what we have. Use the vision to stretch the foods that we have and how to come up with creative ideas to bulk those foods up, whether it's with rice, with oatmeal. There are lots of ways to bulk up your meat if you do eat meat. There are ways to bulk up your meals if you don't eat meat, using potatoes and rice and beans and all of those things that are less expensive, but they go a long way. So I encourage you this week to look in your pantry, look in your refrigerator, look in your freezer with open eyes, with thankfulness, and try to get creative on how you can make that food stretch, because I can guarantee you that is the easiest way to put a little bit of money back in your pocket for gas, for bills, for other things that you need. So many of us are guilty, like myself, of stocking up on more food than we need. But then sometimes looking in our pantry or even looking in our closet and saying, I don't have anything, when really we do. So I loved that lady's perspective of saying, I may not have much here, but these are the things I can eat with it. I hope this video has been inspiring to you. I know some of you have been asking about the cat that lives here that is moody as all get out. I'm going to give you a clip that I almost risked my life for, and I'm a cat person. So some of you asked to see Freya. This is my son's cat. She's the one that's been making noises in the back bedroom, and she is moody. She either loves you or she hates you. There's no in between. My son even left me money in case I needed anything while he was gone. How nice is that? I think I've spent less than $20. I bought the tortillas. I replaced the microwave popcorn that I ate. I found it on sale at Food Lion, and I bought that loaf of bread. I bought a little spray water bottle to make like vinegar water solution to do some cleaning. And like I said, I've hardly spent anything. So he will be getting that back when he gets home. And I know that's going to be a battle because he thought he should pay for my trip. But I'm sorry, grandmas do not charge to come visit their grandchildren. I want to thank each and every one of you who have been following my retirement journey, my frugal journey, and seeing a lot of the ways that I save money on a day-to-day basis, whether I'm traveling, whether I'm at home, whether I'm in my RV. You guys are so wonderful to follow along with me and comment. I appreciate it all so very much. Thank you for your flexibility in coming with me on these trips. I will have another one in June where I'm dog sitting for another son for 3 weeks in another location. But in between here and then, I will be home with normal farm homesteading videos, and I hope you will stick around for those. Thanks again for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and I hope to see you soon.